Why do you wake up tired even after a full night's sleep? You know the feeling you hit snooze 3 times, drag yourself out of bed, and the day already feels impossible before you've even started. Your body's heavy, your mind's foggy, and you're constantly playing catch-up. But here's what most people don't realize. The problem isn't how much you sleep, it's what happens in those first few minutes after you open your eyes. Let me tell you about David. He's 34, works at a banking firm, and has dreams bigger than his current reality. But every morning felt like a battle he was losing. The alarm would scream. He'd groan and hit snooze once, twice, 3 times. Then, still half asleep, he'd reach for his phone and scroll mindlessly for 20 minutes. Suddenly, panic would set in because he was late again. No time for a proper shower. Definitely no breakfast. Just grab burnt coffee and race out the door with his chest tight and shoulders tense. David wasn't always like this. He used to be the guy with energy, with plans, with excitement about life. But somewhere along the way, he lost that spark. Days blended together into an exhausting blur. He was just getting through each day, not really living it, watching his life happen from behind glass while everyone else seemed to be moving forward. The signs were everywhere. He'd snap at coworkers over nothing because his nerves were constantly frayed. He kept promising himself he'd hit the gym after work, but his body felt too heavy, too drained. His girlfriend gently told him one evening, "You're always tired," and those words cut deep because they were true. His boss started giving him concerned looks. "You seem distracted lately." David would just nod, unable to explain that he felt like he was drowning in exhaustion. Then came the breaking point, his nephew's birthday party. David told everyone he forgot, but the truth was worse. He was too emotionally and physically drained to show up. That night, sitting alone in the dark, he felt like a complete failure. Like he was losing everything that mattered while life passed him by. Everything changed when his old college friend, Marcus, came to visit. The moment David opened the door, he could see something was different about Marcus. His eyes were clear and focused. His energy was calm, but vibrant, not rushed, not heavy. Marcus had started his own company, and it was thriving. But that wasn't what struck David the most. It was the sense of presence, like Marcus was fully alive in a way David had forgotten was possible. Over coffee, David couldn't hold back. "What happened to you? Okay? You used to struggle, just like me. What changed?" Marcus smiled, pulled out an old, worn notebook, and said something that would transform David's life. "I learned this from a very successful entrepreneur, and it sounds almost too simple to work, but it changed everything for me. It takes just a few minutes, but you have to do it the moment you wake up before your phone, before anything else touches your consciousness." David leaned in, desperate enough to try anything at this point. "Tell me, think about a lumberjack," Marcus began. "Imagine 2 lumberjacks in a forest, both tasked with cutting down as many trees as possible. The first one wakes up, immediately grabs his axe, and starts swinging with all his might. But his axe is dull. Every swing barely makes a dent. He's working incredibly hard, sweating, exhausting himself, and by day's end, he's managed to cut down maybe 10 trees. He goes home completely broken. Marcus paused, letting that image sink in. Now the second lumberjack wakes up and does something different. Before he touches his axe, he takes a few minutes to sharpen it. Then he begins cutting. Because the blade is sharp, each swing cuts deep and smooth. The work is almost effortless. Same number of hours, but he goes home having cut down 50 trees and still has energy left over. The difference? Marcus looked David straight in the eye. 2 minutes of sharpening. Your mind is that axe. Most people attack their day with a dull, blade-tired, reactive, scattered. But those first few minutes when you wake up, that's when you can sharpen everything. David was intrigued but skeptical. So what exactly do I do? When your alarm goes off, don't reach for your phone. Don't jump out of bed. Lie there for a moment. Start with deep breathing, slow, intentional breaths that fill your entire lungs. Let your nervous system calm down. Then, while you're breathing, bring to mind one thing you're genuinely grateful for. Not a list, just one real thing. Finally, visualize your day going well. See yourself moving through it with clarity and calm. That's it. Then you get up. That's it. David couldn't believe something so simple could matter. Simple doesn't mean easy, Marcus replied. Simple things are actually the hardest to stick with. But I need you to promise me 90 days, no matter what. Even when it feels pointless, even when you don't see results right away. Can you commit to that? David took a breath and nodded. I promise. 90 days. The first morning was strange. When the alarm rang, David's hand automatically reached for his phone. But he stopped himself. He lay still. And it felt uncomfortable. His body wanted to move, to check notifications, to start doing something. But he stayed. He focused on his breathing, deep and slow. He thought about his nephew's laugh. He pictured himself moving through the day calmly. Just those few minutes. Then he got up, and something felt different. He couldn't quite name it, but there was a subtle shift. The first week was a battle. His phone habit was so ingrained that he'd forget and reach for it automatically. But each time he caught himself, he'd start over. And gradually, he began to notice something. There was less panic in his mornings, less of that frantic energy that used to follow him all day. After a few weeks, something clicked. David woke up one morning before his alarm even went off. He did his breathing, his gratitude, his visualization. When he got up, his mind felt clear in a way he had unexperienced in years, like fog had lifted from his brain. At work that day, a coworker stopped and said, "You seem different, more focused or something." There were rough patches. One particularly terrible day at work made David want to quit the whole thing. "This is stupid," he muttered to himself that evening. "A few minutes of breathing isn't going to fix my life." But he remembered his promise, both to Marcus and to himself. He kept going. His girlfriend noticed it before he did. One evening while making dinner, she turned to him and said, "You've been different lately. Calmer. You actually listen when I talk now instead of just waiting for your turn." That landed hard. because David realized she was right. His mind wasn't constantly racing ahead anymore. Then his boss called him in for a meeting, and David's heart sank. But instead of criticism, his boss smiled. "I wanted to tell you that you're being considered for a promotion. Your focus and performance have really improved these last couple months. Whatever you're doing, keep it up." When David met Marcus for coffee near the end of his 90 days, Marcus could see the transformation immediately in how David carried himself. In his energy, in the clarity behind his eyes. "I finally understand," David said. "Those first few minutes set the entire tone. I'm not chasing the day anymore, constantly trying to catch up. I'm leading it. My mind is sharp from the start, like that sharpened axe you talked about. Everything flows differently now." So here's the real question. What do you do in those first moments when your eyes open? Do you grab your phone and let the world flood your consciousness before you're even fully awake? Do you jump straight into stress and rush? Or do you take a moment to sharpen your blade? The truth is this: the first few minutes of your day determine everything that follows. Your first thought creates your first feeling, and your first feeling shapes how you move through the next 23 hours. This isn't some motivational fluffs about giving your nervous system a chance to come online properly, about setting your mental state intentionally instead of letting it be dictated by whatever notification pops up first. You can start this tomorrow. Tonight, put your phone across the room, not within arm's reach. When your alarm goes off tomorrow morning, resist the urge to immediately move. Take a few minutes for deep, intentional breathing. Let your body wake up naturally. Think of one genuine thing you're grateful for. Then picture your day unfolding smoothly. See yourself handling whatever comes with clarity and calm. What happens when you do this consistently? Your mind becomes sharper, your days start to flow instead of feeling like constant battles. You feel more in control, more present, more alive. The people around you will notice, even if they can't quite pinpoint what's different. Successful people understand this instinctively. The day is won or lost in those first quiet moments. You have more power than you realize to shape your experience. Those few minutes of intentional breathing and focus are the difference between living tired and living awake, between reacting to life and actually living it. So sharpen your axe. Start tomorrow. Your future self will thank you.